Can the Fender Tone Master amp handle high gain pedals for high gain tones and stuff like that? Will it handle it, or is it going to completely crap the bed? We're going to find out today. I've got rented this morning. We've got a Fender Super Reverb Tone Master, full digital, 410 speaker configuration, as is the real one. And we've got a Shure 57, SM57 on the speaker. Pretty much the same way that I run on that amp right here, the Hot Rod DeVille. Just want to see with my pedal board that I use that has kind of like the gain core is the Bogner Ecstasy Blue, and then I run overdrives into that to get higher gain sounds. See if that pedal board that I run through the DeVille, if the Tone Master digital amp can handle it, or if it's just completely going to fall apart. So we're going to find that out today. I haven't turned it on yet. Haven't done a test. I have no idea what it sounds like. Literally just got it through the door. So we're going to plug it in real time and we're going to see what it does. And we'll go from there. Welcome back to the FiftyNiner Winder Show. My name is Jazz. I'm a pickup winder for Romaine Pickups, and we're doing this show, having fun with it, documenting stuff, more or less. This is where we fly by the seat of our pants and just talk gear, do all kinds of stuff. I'm trying to do this so that it's maybe not the most, trying to give you a different type of guitar channel. We're trying, flying by our seat of our pants. Whether we're succeeding or not doesn't matter, but we're doing it. So today, this episode is going to be the final episode. We're going to call it season 1, right? We're going into Christmas, so the house is going to be full, and I'm not going to shoot any video with a full house. So seemed fair to end the season here, and we'll take it back up in the new year. But I was having my morning coffee, and I thought with this whole digital thing that maybe I should just rent one instead of Wonder and try to find, because see, the thing is you get a lot of reviews on these, all the different models, and they just show you cleans, and they'll put a little bit of overdrive into it just to see what it sounds like with like subtle breakup. No one's really actually done, something like this with an overdrive in front to really push gain. So my question regarding these amps was always, can it do what the DeVille is currently doing for me as far as being a pedal platform amp? And so far, I basically just run it in the clean channel, and I'm getting all my gain from pedals, whereas normally, ideally, I would run one of my other amps, the Bogners and the Marshall, and get the bass gain from that, and then coax more out of it using pedals. Whereas with the Fender, all the gain is coming from the pedals. And I mean, it's pushing close to 60 pounds, right? And you see other players, and they've got different gear, and then you get the digital stuff comes out, and some of it sounds pretty decent. Whether it feels like a real amp or not, I don't know. And whether this feels like a real amp or not, I don't know either. But we'll find out today. Like I said, I haven't turned this on yet. So I'm gonna, if it completely sucks, you're gonna find out on video. Or if it's really awesome, you'll see it on my face. But yeah, running all the gain into the amp, and I don't know if these can do it, but these are like half the weight. So this is about probably just under 30 pounds, I'm guessing. So half the weight of the DeVille, which is pretty attractive, right? Because as far as I go with certain gigs, certain sizes of stages, you can't put a full half stack, because then you got the bass amp, and then you need the drums and the other guitar player, and the singer's got to fit in there somewhere too. So the idea of a small combo style thing that can handle and do all the sounds that I need, and be able to do one trip from the car to the venue or stage and back to the car instead of doing multiple trips. Just the idea of having stuff unattended in a car while I do my second trip, and then you get back to the car and your stuff's gone. So that's what I'm trying to avoid with just the one trip thing, hence the combo. But I mean, 60 pounds, it starts to get old quick when you've got options like this that are half the weight, but still look like an amp. So we'll see. The thing that really got me intrigued about these Tone Masters is that all the modeling and all the R&D went into doing one amp as opposed to having all the amps in the world in one box. It's one amp. So that's that makes me curious, because I mean, Fender's a pretty big company, and so the amount of money they can put into R&D and all that stuff should be pretty good. So we'll find that out. The other thing is I remember reading a while back that all the Pearl Jam guys are running Tone Masters live pretty much exclusively now. Whether that's changed since then, I don't know, but the idea that they were using them live tells me that, well, I'd call them professionals, right? Professional musicians are using them in a live setting. Maybe there's something there. So we'll figure that out. I'm sure it's a great amp. I'm sure it sounds awesome. I'm just not sure if it's going to work with the way that I'm requiring an amp, in this case, a pedal platform style amp, to work, right? Will it handle it or not? So we'll find that out. Yeah, so we'll do mic'd on a speaker, and probably start off just off the phone microphone, and then I'll try and do some mic stuff, and also the XLR cab sim out. I'll do that too. Full disclaimer, I'm not a recording engineer. I'm novice at best as far as capturing sound, so this isn't about a sound quality thing. It's more so about seeing if it can handle higher gain type stuff, because it might not. It is digital, so I used to have an old Fender head, solid state, and I would run it with this board, and it handled it pretty well, arguably possibly better than the DeVille, but it was a head, and I had to have a cab, whereas this is just one box. So that's why I went to this. So we'll see what this amp does. So yeah, let's just do it like, in real time here. Right, I haven't turned it on. The mic is placed, but it's not on yet. We'll get to that in a bit. For now, I just need to plug it in, and like I said, I've never played through one of these before, so we'll see what it does. Maybe I'll be pleasantly surprised, maybe not. We're gonna start off with the normal channel, see what that does. And it does have an on switch and a standby switch. No gain yet, there's no pedals on. Just want to see what the dry sound is. We're also on the high, so it does have the attenuator, like the wattage dial. It's full. It's on the full 45, I think it is. Okay, so far, normal channel, the first input, we're at volume is at 3, and treble and bass is at 1. That already doesn't sound bad. I don't know what it's going to sound like through the camera, but in the room. Okay, let's do bass and treble at 5. Volume at 5. Wow, is that ever loud? Volume back at 3. And that is with the bright switch off. So this is a pretty bright amp, but the bright switch off. So I'll put the bright switch on. Input 2. It's a little bit quieter, but it doesn't darken it doesn't darken the amp at all. Whereas a lot of tube amps, but the DeVille, you put it in the input 2, the volume drops, but so does the clarity, the treble. So you have to either crank the treble a little bit or put the volume up, and then you get some clarity back. So far this doesn't darken it. It just like a decibel drop. So that's bass 5, treble 5. We did treble 10. Very bright. Bass on 10. Has really good bass. It's not too much. A lot of big. It sounds big. It's a big sounding amp. Even at these low volumes, it sounds like. See, the DeVille being tube, at a lower volume, it gets darker and muddier. And then as you turn it up, it just becomes alive, and then you get, you know, nice tight lows and rich mids and better treble as you turn it up. Whereas this kind of has that pretty much at every volume, which is I'm actually kind of surprised. Okay, and as far as the feel goes, it kind of has maybe a little tighter feel than tube, but it's more tubey than a lot of solid state amps that I've played, like the PVs and stuff like that, or Fender solid state. And that's with the bright switch still on. And I'll turn the bass around 6, the treble around 6, see what that does. We'll get to the gain in a bit. I want to try. It's going to drop the wattage all the way down. So it's very quiet now. We'll put it back to input 1. Volume on 8 on the normal channel. So I don't know if you're picking that up on the microphone, but that sounds like shit. Sounds like a blown solid state amp. So volume on 8, and we're at the 0.5 watt setting. So maybe that's not your setting. Let's put it down to 5 and tune the wattage up a little bit. Big jump from the lowest setting to the next setting up. So volume on 5, first input of the first channel. You're getting a little bit of breakup. Doesn't sound bad. Doesn't sound tubey though. Sounds like, you know, digital modeling. Not in a bad way though. Okay. Let's do the next channel. Volume 1, bright switch off, and we'll put the wattage switch back to the top there. So I don't really know how the real tube amp works as far as like all the magic settings and sweet spots. So I don't know enough about that to try and see if this can nail it. And that's not what we're really here for. We're here to see how it gains up, but we'll get to that in a bit. Volume 3. let's see, treble 5. We'll do the same as the other one. Bass at 5, and this one has a middle. Let's put the middle at 5. Right switch on. Very bright amp. Very bright amp. So sonically, it's similar to the first channel, maybe a little bit more Marshall-y-ish on the vibrato channel because of the mids knob. You can kind of tweak that. Reverb's pretty good, you know, like typical Fender stuff. They kicks in early on in the knobs. Not as touchy as the DeVille or other amps I've had or tried from Fender. It is a digital. Actually, no, it's not. I think there is a. I think there's actually a spring pouch in there. We can look that up. We don't need that in video. But let's see what it does when it gains up with the wattage all the way down. And we'll put the volume at 8 like we did on the other one. Nope. So I don't know what the real amp does at 8, but I'm sure it doesn't sound like that. But again, this is probably not how this amp is designed to be used. So, you know, we're probably pushing the limits like that. I could see why they didn't do higher gain settings or whatever in all the reviews and the Fender videos and stuff. Probably not designed for that. So it's you know, it's crap in the bed there. So let's do volume 5 and the second from lowest setting. So one notch up from the lowest wattage setting. Hopefully I'm not distorting the shit out of the video. But I would say this amp is definitely way loud enough to gig with a full-size rock band. So let's try some gain, and then I'll run the mic through and get some captures that way and through the XLR, and then we'll wrap this up. So far though, I'm impressed with the tone of the amp for cleans. How it feels very tube-like. It's very very like what I remember a Fender tube amp to sound like a Fender Twin or that kind of thing. Like it's just like a weird warm compressy kind of laggy sound to it. I don't know how to explain it really, but it sounds nice like this. Now let's see if when we're pushing it and it distorts, that's no go. Let's see if we get a good clean sound and then use gain out of these pedals. So, how am I going to do this? I'm going to drop the volume a little bit so that I can put the wattage all the way up. Maybe one back. So I'm going to try to get like a bass sound that I would normally do at a gig or at band practice before I kick on some drive. So we'll call this our clean tone. Not quite at band volume, but I'll test that after. But here we are with so we've got, right, we're running into the polytune, And then into this, it's just a cheap, what is it? Mosky Silver Horse. I just needed a cheap little overdrive pedal, like a Klon style, to basically push the front end of this Bogner pedal. So I'm using this as the preamp basically to get gain out of that. And then from there it goes through chorus, tremolo, equalizer, and the dispatch master. So we're kind of going to just focus on the overdrive and the ecstasy here for now. So ecstasy blue without a boost. Now let's boost it. Now I'm going to throw on the Mosky Silver Horse. This is normally what I step on when I need that extra gain. So in the cover band with Crash Carter, we cover a lot of different bands from Tragically Hip all the way to Stone Temple Pilots, Smashing Pumpkins, Silverchair, you know, all over the place. Our Lady Peace, you know, all the 90s and early 2000s stuff. So they've used amps from like Fenders to Marshalls to Dual Rex to you name it. So you have to cover a lot of ground on our set, like during the sets. And so normally this is the mid-gain sound that I have. Well, the mid-gain setting, not the sound. And with the boost, it's not doing it. So I could see why they didn't put any higher gain clips on a lot of the videos that are on there covering these tone masters. So I think this is a clean amp only. Like let's say if I turned on the Mosky and set it up to do gain. No, that's not doing it. Okay, what else can we do? Let's try these gain things through the normal channel. I'll drop that volume down. So I'm gonna hook up the microphone and try and get some captures through the mic and then through the XLR out. But I can pretty much say right now that if your requirement is to have high gain sounds from a pedal board through a pedal platform amp, this ain't it. It's clearly not designed for that. They didn't account for that. You know, they're catering to perhaps the player who would typically choose this amp. I'm thinking that the real tube amp would react to this board a lot better like the DeVille does. Not that the DeVille's great. It's not a great amp, but it holds up. The best I can describe the gain sound coming from the amp through this pedal, through the amp, is, compared to the DeVille, is it's almost like the gain texture or the gain sound or the quality of what I'm hearing is pixelated, right? So I don't know how best to describe it. It's like, you know, when you have a photo and then a pixelated photo, or you get a picture of a mountain scene, and then you see a similar shot of a mountain scene in a video game, and it looks pretty realistic, but it's a little pixely. It's like that, but the sound version of it. That's what I'm hearing here. So if you're thinking about running these amps and gig and run high gain pedals through it to get high gain tones out of this amp, I don't think this is it. If you were running a digital pedal like a modeler through this, well then why are you running this, right? You wouldn't need two digital modeling entities to do one job. So the idea was use this as a pedal platform and coax sounds out of it or pump sounds into it with a pedal board. And this is, it's not great. So again, too, this is just one example. This is the Super Reverb. I don't know what the deluxe reverb is with its gain sounds or capabilities. I'm thinking though all these Tone Masters will handle signal coming in roughly the same way and might result in the same result here. And I'm picky with overdrives. Like, I don't want to use a light overdrive on a super clean amp when it sounds like a pedal in front of an amp, where it sounds like small and boxy. Especially because this amp here, clean, with the bass halfway, the treble halfway, does have a very big, thick, warm sound with a lot of clarity. So that's that. So we'll hook it up with the mic and then the XLR minor playing there just to get the tones through a different microphone system, and maybe it'll capture things different. I don't know what the phone captured sonically with pumping gain through here, but in the room, I wouldn't buy this for this app, for the application that I'm trying to find an amp for. This ain't it. So yeah, we'll mic it up and we'll be back. All right, we're mic'd up. 57 on the bottom speaker here into the DAW. Hopefully we capture what I'm hearing here in the room somewhat through the computer. So we have, right now we have, here's the clean sound. Okay, that's the clean. So turning on the Bogner Ecstasy Blue overdrive, no boost. Again, I'm not trying to impress anybody with my playing here. I'm not trying to pass myself off as someone you can learn from guitar playing wise. Just for sounds, right? Turn on the boost. Turn on the Silver Horse to push the Bogner pedal, more gain, into this thing here. So one thing I'm noticing is that with the wattage switch all the way up, it's not as bad. So I'm gonna drop the wattage switch a bit, like say 1 notch. Let's do 2 notches. So whatever that is. So it's a little bit quieter. We'll turn on all the gain levels, right? Okay, so if you have oh shit, drop my pick. If you have the wattage switch all the way up, so as I'm pretty sure in this case it's 45 watts. It seems to handle this a little better. It's not great, but it's not awful. A little farty in the especially with the lower notes. With the gain, it gets a little farty, but I get that from the DeVille too. I think that's the low wattage 10-inch speakers, that it just comes with the territory there. But that's not bad. I think that's the ticket, is if you're going to run a lot of gain into the front end, you're going to want to have the wattage switch all the way up, which makes perfect sense anyways, because you could the volume on there, let's try this. I'm going to reset. Just want to make sure I'm not clipping the mic, but I'm going to, same setting, still mic speaker. I'm going to turn the volume up to about 5 and see, or like something like a stage, band level, and see if it still holds up. Because right now I've got the volume at 3, treble at 5, mid at 5, the bass is at 4, so they're 10, so you don't want too much bass because they will get farty. But then if you go too low on the bass, then the amp starts to sound small. No reverb, no tremolo. So bass 4, mid and treble at 5, and the volume was at 3. It's a comfortable loud at that level in here, typically my bedroom level, but not band or stage level. So we'll test that. So I'm just going to redo the levels and see if it can handle the gain as well as it just did now at band volume. All right, so we're back. We're at volume 4. This is loud enough for a stage or a band. The jump from 3 to 4 is huge. Like it goes up, and then once you get past 4, I'm probably gonna give my cats a heart attack. So just trust that this is band level. right? Stage and everything, because you'd be mic'd up, or the XLR out to front of house anyways. This is pretty loud, like the walls are shaking. All right, so full gain, got the boost and the overdrive on the Bogner, and the Mosky is on, and this is what we're getting. Mosky off, so just the boost and overdrive on the XLC. Just the Bogner overdrive, no boost. Dispatch master. Well, there you go. We'll do the XLR in a sec, but so far, if you were to gig this, I take my words back from earlier. If you're going to gig this and you're going to run pedals like I'm trying to run through here, yeah, run the wattage switch all the way to max, and it should be able to hold it up. Now, this is this amp, the Super Reverb. I don't know if the Deluxe Reverb, the Princeton Reverb Tone Masters, or the Bassman that they just put out for the Tone Master range. I don't know if they're all going to handle gain the same way, but I think they will. They'll just have a different voicing maybe. But as far as handling that kind of gain going into it, I think they'll probably all do it. This is plenty loud for 45 watts. Well, I mean, I think they're like 200 watts or something like that actual, but it's digital solid state wattage to simulate tube wattage. So a 45 watt amp. Well, I mean, the little Bogner here is 35 watts. So they say, and I think it's actually more like 40, 45 if you actually went and checked with your tools to check that, whatever that is. And it's really loud. Like that can get band volume easily. And so can this. So I think because it's solid state wattage at like 100 or 200 watts, something high like that, it's a big amp, and it sounds like a big amp. As soon as you start dropping the wattage down on the switch in the back, I think that's where the gain going into it comes out of the speaker sounding pixelated. So it's almost like a resolution switch, the wattage. Higher the wattage, the higher the resolution. Lower the wattage, lower resolution. Probably just in the way that it processes the stuff or whatever it does in there. It's pretty much a laptop in there. It seems to lose its ability to translate the gain going into the amp out the speaker with the filtration of the amp's voicing. So doable, wattage all the way. I'm gonna rejig my system so that we're trying out the cab sim and wrap this up. XLR out, cab sim into the DAW, and full gain, so all three, right? The OD, the boost, and the clone thing. And this is what we got. We got the XLR out to the Universal Audio Volt USB interface into the DAW, and we've got the Ecstasy on, the boost, and the Mosky boosting it. So all three stages of gain, I guess, put it. And this is what it sounds like through Cab Sim. So that's Cab Sim setting 1. There's off 1 and 2. I'm going to put that over on setting 2. Right, so this is setting 2. So there you go. Whatever that ends up sounding like, well, I'll find out while I'm editing the video. But yeah, I sort of expected to be disappointed. And halfway through this video, through the test, I thought for sure that it was a done deal. It's a no-go. But with the wattage switch all the way up, you get the higher resolution, and it sounds good with a lot of gain going through it. Is it better than the DeVille? In my case, to my ears, with my gear and my playing, no. But mainly because it does things a bit different. I think the gain ends up sounding more natural through the DeVille. Through the Tone Master, it's definitely a little brighter and more, I don't know how to put it in words, but it does sound a little, even like when it sounds good, you can still tell it's digital. It's slightly pixely, but it's not terrible by any means. Once you drop the wattage, then it falls flat. I did notice from playing with the amp here going to the other end of the room, it does start to sound smaller, but it could just be the speakers and the 10 inches, and maybe once you go back up to band volume, it might push more air. Might just be the room too. So it's totally giggable. I mean, if the price wasn't so high, I'd be, if it was half of what they charge for these, it would be a no-brainer. But I got that for $400. And this is like 4 times that. And this is serviceable, right? The DeVille, serviceable. This, it's pretty much a laptop in there. So I guess the key point here is if the guts inside there, because laptops, you get a laptop and they don't last forever. They're prone to failing, the hard drive or the processor or whatever. you know, what are you gonna have to buy another Tone Master in 3 years? Then what's the point? But if they are rock solid and you can run these amps as long as you can, the old tube amps have been running, possibly worth it. So durability is a thing. If the dependability and the durability and the longevity of its lifespan is as long as any other amp, I'd gig it. I'd run it. I'd buy one used, not from a store, but from a person, so you get a better price. But they can do high gain as long as you have the right settings. Clean, they're gorgeous. They sound and feel very much like a tube amp. Now, again, I'm not comparing this to the real deal right beside it, right? I don't have two Super Reverbs here, but for practice, for gigging, for something that gets you kind of, sort of there, they're great amps. This impressed me. So there you have it. If you were looking to see if this can do high gain if you're in a cover band or whatever kind of band and you're doing higher gain stuff, this will do it. Your miles may vary based on the pedals, but running the Ecstasy is a great one. You know, you got a bunch of other preamp style overdrive pedals, and there's a lot of them. So what I would suggest is, if you can, at your store, rent one and see if it runs with your gear and your guitars, and if you like the sound of it before you buy one, and then go hunt one used. Or maybe you get a good deal at your store or something like that. Maybe you want the warranty, right? So maybe you want to, so if the price is fine for you, go for it. It's not bad. And this is coming from a pretty diehard tube enthusiast. I'll never get rid of the tube amps, but Fender, you did a good job here. Me personally, I think I would just leave it on the max wattage and forget that feature even exists. So there you go. How's that for an interesting video? With that, we'll wrap it up. It's been an interesting year. 2024 has been a little bit all over the place in a lot of respects, right? The world is gone nuts. There's craziness all over. There's conflicts all over. You know, you've got conflicts within your city, your town, your province, your state, your country, wherever you are in the world. There's just, right? And it's been a year. Here's hoping 2025 is a better year for everyone, in every corner of the globe, every geographical location. I hope that everyone finds their peace. And with this, we're going to wrap up season 1 of the FiftyNiner Winder Show. Thanks for coming along for the ride. This has been weird for me, being in front of a camera, putting up videos. I'm used to just being behind the scenes and not being known. The whole point of this whole channel has been to try and reignite this, right? Romaine pickups. My passion is guitars, gear, good tone. I love making pickups. And I've had a lot of conversations just here on my front porch with locals that I've worked on the guitars or made them pickups, or both. And I'm not a salesman. I'm not the sales type. I'm just not that kind of person. So it's very hard for me to reach and connect with people unless they're nearby. So the only way that I could expand that front porch conversation is by doing YouTube. So through this, I'm bringing that front porch conversation that I have had with plenty of customers and clients to anyone who's willing to watch this. And I'm documenting, you know, you know, bottomless pit of gear and tone curiosities, and we're just having fun with it together. And so I appreciate anybody watching, anybody subscribing, anybody all that. So this has been cool. So this is the end of season 1. We'll go on to season 2, and I'll just continue doing this and see how far we can push this and how big we can grow a community of like-minded people who just like guitars and want to kind of just, you know, have something positive in their life at a time when the world's all gone crazy. So with that, a Merry Christmas to all of you who celebrate it. Happy holidays to all of you who are celebrating or are just taking time off. To everyone who celebrates a different thing this time of year, pardon my ignorance. You know, I can't keep tabs on what everybody's celebrating, but happy celebrations to you, whatever you may be celebrating, as long as it's not nefarious. And to, you know, anyone who this time of year has a hard time, there's a lot of you, there's a lot of us. I'm no different. This time of year can be tough for a lot of people in all kinds of ways. You know, maybe you battle depression. Maybe you have seasonal depression this time of year specifically. Maybe you've suffered a loss in the past or recently. Or you find yourself on the lonely side. Whatever reason that you're having a hard time this time of year, just know that you do matter. Every one of us matters. Doesn't matter what we wear, what we look like. We all matter. And find something that fills your heart with love or joy, whether it's a binge watching Netflix for 2 weeks straight or whatever, as long as you don't lose a job over it, right? Do something that makes you feel good, that isn't self-destructive. And if you have an urge to do something self-destructive, do me a favor and do the opposite. Do something constructive, and it'll make you feel better. And this too shall pass. So if you hate Christmas, if you don't like Christmas, if Christmas is a sore spot for you, or this time of year, or whatever, or you're just having a hard time and it's all coming to a head, hang in there. You matter. Just take one more step at a time. Keep moving forward. Everything can be fixed. You just chip away at it. And you know what? Before you know it, we arrive to my favorite time of year, which is January 2nd. And that's because January 1st doesn't count as the first day of the new year because it's still a holiday. But January 2nd, it's all over. All the holidays are done, and it's the first, I count it as the first day of a whole new year. So hang on until then, and make a plan for making 2025 a year where you start doing the things that you always wanted to do but just didn't know how. You could figure everything out, right? Like the winding pickups. How did I figure out how to do that? Well, I messed one up, and then I learned how it was put together, and I took it apart and I rewound it, and it sounded better than it did before. And then I kept going that way, and then playing with spec, and now I'm here. Baby steps. You don't have to win a big success by the end of next year. Just be somewhere further. It doesn't have to be a huge distance. Any distance further ahead is good. So let's do that for next year. Let's aim at making next year the year where things change, myself included. I've got plenty of things listed out that I feel like I failed this year, things that I've succeeded this year, and I've got plans for the coming year. So it's a tough time for me too, and it's a joyous time too. But just hang in there. To anyone who's having a hard time, don't go anywhere. Hang on. And everyone else who's not having a hard time this year, if you have someone you know that is having a hard time, reach out to them and make sure they feel welcome and that they matter. So that's the parting words on this last episode for season 1. This has been the 59er Winder Show. I have been Jazz, Romaine Pickups, and see you next season.